Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Austin and Alia's Sports Podcast. We made it. This is episode 9, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Episode 9. Let's do it. And we're going to talk a lot today, Rangers are up. We're back up. That's something good happening in
it's crazy.
DFW
I feel like
Metroplex.
literally every other week it's, we're up, we're down, we're up, we're down. And
yeah,
hopefully we can.
Better hope to stay hot. And right now.
Yeah, they got to stay hot. They
need to. And then when they stay hot, we just can't have two nice things at once, huh? It just doesn't happen. It's like golf. You hit one good shot, you're not hitting another good shot on the same hole.
No, that's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
So that's what we're having with the Cowboys this week, too. We're going to talk about them. Everything we kind of, I don't want to say jinxed, but like talked about, try not to talk about. We're very optimistic about it. Didn't happen. Yeah. So Cowboys got too high on themselves. We're going to talk Cowboys, Rangers, obviously. By the next podcast, we'll find out if they're having to buy or not.
Playoffs, yeah.
Or in wild card, or out of playoffs. Hopefully not. We'll talk some NFL, obviously. We'll go to some college football, talk about that. Some pretty good games this weekend. And, yeah, man. I saw you were at a concert this weekend.
Yeah, I went to Cristian Nodal at Dickies. I was with your mom and then your younger sister and then
I was very disappointed too.
Yeah, it was sick. It was pretty sweet. I'd really Emily and I neither of us really had listened to a ton of his stuff. Like we heard a couple songs here and there, but obviously got tickets and went, and both of us loved it. It was a really, really good performance. I'm sure your mom and your sister said the same thing, but
that's what my mom said. Yeah, she loved it. Yeah.
He went 2.5 hours.
She was saying. He does have a lot of music.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, man, it was pretty sweet. So you could tell that they were trying to get him the fuck out of there because pretty much they were like, okay, hey, you gotta go. And so all of a sudden that last song came on and then the stuff went out and then no encore, nothing. He was out of there.
Wow.
So
I heard it was really long.
Yeah, it was long. I was especially on a Sunday night, I was dog tired. I was getting ready. I was getting ready for work the next day, and I was like, bro, it is 11:30. I have no business being out. But no, I'm glad I went. It was a lot of fun, and got to bust out the cowboy hat. So haven't worn that in a minute. So it was nice. It was good. But yeah, man, you were out of town. How was that? How was everything?
I was. Flew out to Cali Thursday night. We had a late flight. It was 10:50. Got delayed. We didn't leave until 12 from DFW, 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. And my plan was to get to California, have me a fat, juicy burger from In-N-Out right when I got there.
Yeah.
But it was closed by the time we got there.
No.
That was thrown out the fucking window. So that was tough. Thursday. Got there super late. I think we landed at 1:30 Cali time.
Jesus.
It's 3:30 DFW time.
That blows.
Yeah, and then Friday, so it was my buddies, my old college roommate. It was his 23rd, and he got a Airbnb out in Indio towards Palm Springs area.
Okay.
So that was nice. We stayed there the whole weekend. Grilled up some burgers, drank it up, got in the pool.
That's respect.
Got a little heat up koozie. Yeah, it was a good time.
Okay.
Came back Monday.
Better weather.
Now
you're back at it.
So where he stays at, it's nice. But then, since we drove closer to Indio, it was 95,
it was hot.
97.
Oh, yeah. So
but I was
we're
going to be in the pool.
Just like it was here.
So it was fine by me. I wanted it to be hot. So
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. At the TCU game this weekend, it felt like 103.
Ooh, how was that?
It was just like the Colorado game. You know how we were just dying at the Colorado game?
What time was kickoff?
It was 11 a.m. also. So
ooh.
Yeah, it was brutal. Right in the hottest part of the day. And we got there at 6:30 to start tailgating, and so and we had a mimosa bar, and so after you had a couple mimosas, you had a couple beers,
saw the pancakes too. You was whipping it up.
Hey, I was whipping it up, bro. I was whipping it up. So hey, if you want to see we got a tailgate this weekend. If you're not busy.
What time did they play this weekend?
7. It's night game.
Who do they play?
West Virginia.
Nah, I'm just kidding. I don't know. We'll see, man. I was supposed to have a game this Saturday, but it's also my birthday weekend, so I need to figure that out.
That's fair. That's valid.
Yeah.
That's valid. But yeah, man, that was it. So nothing really too crazy going on. Just hanging out. Got a big trip coming up too, so trying to stay low key until then.
Right. Yeah.
So. But
I guess we'll talk about.
You want to get into this? Yeah, this shit show.
Yeah, the big shit show. The big shit show.
So the Cowboys played the Arizona Cardinals, lost 28-16. Um, yeah, I kind of could figure that something was going to happen. I think we were primed for a letdown. Just good old Cowboys. I I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but I definitely was saying it like at work and stuff like that. Like, hey, like don't get too high on them. They're gonna let you down sooner or later. And didn't wait that long. Really didn't wait that long. I wasn't that hurt because I knew it was gonna happen.
We talked
I
about
mean,
this
maybe
last
not this
week.
week. Yeah, maybe not this week, but I knew it was gonna happen eventually, where they were just gonna lose a game where they shouldn't.
I even told you, I was like, I think if any of the games, it would be this game for some reason,
Yeah, coming
I don't
off
know
2 big
why.
wins.
Just the trap was coming, bro.
And
Big point under,
I want to
big
say
point
that,
dog,
yeah, our
favorites.
favorite, yeah, and like I want to say that in our last 8 games against the Cardinals, we're 1-7,
1-7.
which is like, I mean, obviously, right, they're different teams every year, but still, like the fact that you just like the Cardinals are just for whatever reason a bogey
Have your
team, and the
number for some
Cowboys,
reason,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it just is what it is, I guess. So I don't know. I don't think I'm not like taking too much of it like to heart. I mean, obviously there were some like pretty big issues. I mean, red zone was pretty shitty, like it has been. Obviously, that's an issue.
Yeah.
But like you go into the game, you're missing 3 starters on the offensive line. You obviously first game without Trayvon Diggs, which I don't think we talked about him tearing his ACL last
Yeah, it
podcast, but
happened.
like Thursday
Was
last
it
week,
Thursday?
probably the day
Thursday
we
morning?
uploaded. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So
Thursday morning. Yeah.
like just like stuff like that, like three starting offensive line, and you're starting like 2 guys for their first ever games in NFL. Trey Diggs is hurt. Just a lot of guys that just weren't really playing and weren't clicking, and so you do that. I think it's obviously not like it's not a recipe for success, I would say. So I think they're gonna bounce back this week, but yeah, I think last week it was just throw it out the window, move on to next week.
Yeah.
Just take what you can
Right
take
before
out of it.
kickoff, I saw the tweet of like the starting O line, and I was just like, "Wow, okay, this is where
Yeah.
we're gonna be doing now." Yeah, but props to them. They didn't do as bad as I thought they were gonna do. I thought they held the pocket pretty nice.
It really wasn't that bad.
So,
Yeah,
the
I think,
struggles
like,
that we
I
talked
think we still
about
ran the ball pretty
with
well.
red zone, I think so. I mean, Pollard ran for what, 80
He
or
ran for 100,
90,
right?
I think, or did he hit 100?
Yeah, it was somewhere up there. I think
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
pretty close to 100. I don't remember off the top of my head, but
Yeah, but
I
when
know
you give up that many
it
rushing
was,
yards, man, on the other side of the ball.
yeah, I think I want to say it was Dan Quinn. I think he said that like there was only 3 people on the entire defense that played well, and they were all like secondary players. So like even I think it was like DeMarcus Lawrence, Deron Bland, and then like one other person. It's like everybody else played like shit. It was like, I mean, at least he's gonna call it out. I mean, even calling out right, like Michael Parsons, like your best player on defense, like saying like, hey, like you had a dog shit game, like figure it out. Like I don't know, man. It's brutal. I think we were 1 for 5 in the red zone, which I mean,
again, talked about it last week.
It's not gonna cut it. It's not gonna cut it.
Yeah, we put up 30 against the Jets, but we were like, hey, we kind of struggled in the red zone, but it wasn't a problem because you were up by so much. So you were like, you know what, it's okay. I told you we hadn't played from behind yet. This game, you played from behind 100%. Very quickly. Very quickly, you're playing from behind. And you start to question if the West Coast offense is the way to go, or why they haven't tried. Do they not trust Dak throwing the ball long? We haven't seen a deep shot from him, as far as I know.
Yeah, and I know and that's crazy because I want to say it was in training camp. CD was like, "You're gonna see Dak throw it deep," but like we really haven't. So
I haven't seen it once.
I don't know where that's coming. I think it's like his yard per attempt is like under 7 yards an attempt, which is like it's pretty shitty. Like if you're expecting like if you're gonna throw it, if you're gonna be a team that throws it vertically, you're gonna go like 8.5 to 10 yards an attempt. And like I think Tua, like this week, we'll get into it a little bit more, but like Tua with the Dolphins, I think he was close to 10 yards an attempt, and it shows because I mean he had 300 yards on like less than 30 attempts or right at 30 attempts.
Insane.
So, and you would think like with a guy like Michael Gallup, who like I want to talk about him too because I think that he had
exploded
a great
this game,
and finally is like back to like making plays and stuff like that. But like you got like Michael Gallup, who's like in my opinion a red zone threat, jump ball threat.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And then also you have a guy like Brandon Cooks that can take the top off of defense. I mean he's got the speed to go. Like
and
he's gonna do it. Like
it.
You just haven't seen it, and it's kind of sad because I mean I think we have the weapons to do it. It just I don't know if it's Schottenheimer and McCarthy not trusting Dak, but I think, like I said, I mean, I'm a Dak apologist, and I think that he has the ability to make those throws, but I just don't know why. I don't know if he's not making the decisions, if they're not giving him that opportunity to do so. I think obviously right, like, and maybe it just is like just how the play is drawn up, like their coach and their reads are to go low to high versus go high to low. So I think that's it.
Yeah, and the media had what they wanted happen this weekend. Dak threw a pick. Congrats, guys. Dak was not going to go the whole season without throwing a pick. Oh my gosh, who would have told you that? Who would have told you that?
I'm sorry. Like the number, like on Sunday, I got so many text messages like, "Oh, Dakota Prescott, he's a dog shit quarterback." Like I think I got like 4 or 5 different text messages from different people saying like, "Oh, Dak threw an interception. Like he's dog shit. He's a shitty quarterback. He's a mediocre quarterback." Like I don't know what you expect. Like what starting quarterback in the NFL isn't going to throw an interception? I'm sorry. Like
yeah, you saw Josh Allen a couple weeks ago throw 3.
Yeah, and it's just like, honestly, it bugs the shit out of me. And honestly, a lot of it is just because he's Dak Prescott and because he plays for the Dallas Cowboys. That's the only
star on the head, man.
Even if Dak played for another team in the NFL, like he's not getting near this publicity, the shit that he gets talked about him. It's purely because it's the Cowboys. Yeah, nobody says anything. Nobody says a thing. You may get like one comment, man.
I'm telling you, bro. They love watching us, bro. That's where, hate it or love it, bro. We're America's team. Even if we're succeeding or not, we're forever going to be America's team because everyone's going to be watching us, waiting for us to lose. Hey, guess what? We're not going 17-0.
This is not.
I could have told you that, but anytime you lose or anytime you win, you're never going to get credited for the win. It's going to be like, oh, you beat 2 bad Giants teams. Okay, and you lose to the Cardinals. Like that's what football's about. I told you, any given Sunday, it's going to happen.
In the NFL, in the margin, the NFL, the margins are so thin. Like it doesn't matter. I mean, aside from like the Bears, basically, like the margins between all the other 31 teams in the NFL are pretty thin. And so,
gosh, the Bears.
It's just like, yeah, I don't know, man. I think that like just struggling in red zone's not going to do it. Like 1 of 5 in red zone. We had 13 penalties for 107 yards. Like that's not going to do it. And then combine that with like there being like 3 or 4 questionable calls from referees, which I mean, right? Like refs are human. They're not going to make the 100% call. Like they're not going to call a perfect game every game. But like combining like bad red zone penalties, inexperienced offensive line, and then 2 or 3 like crucial missed calls by the refs. Like it's a recipe for disaster. It is what it is. And so I mean, obviously, right, we're 3 games into the season. We're not going to hit the panic button. Like, we have a meat of our schedule coming up. I think we play, we play the Niners in a week. We play the Patriots this week. I think it's Patriots, Niners. Yeah, Rams. And then we play the Eagles. I think it's Patriots, Niners, Rams, Eagles in the next 4 weeks. So, if we go 0-4 in the next 4 weeks and we're sitting at 2-6 going into week 9, like, yeah, hit the panic button, sure. But like, I think we're going to be okay. Like we still have a good defense. Dak still has weapons. Tony Pollard can still run the ball. Like we're going to get these guys back healthy. Like we're going to be okay. I think it's fine.
For sure. I hope so, man. I know everyone's hitting the panic button and saying that team's bad, whatever. But obviously, I mean, as much as you don't want to say, I mean, everyone's human, like you said. You would hope that athletes don't go into games and think, oh, we're in Arizona. Like, fuck is Dobbs going to do to us? Oh, I don't know, cook you for some yards. Yeah. But I mean, they're human. Like it happens, and like you just hate that it happens, and you just, I mean, shit. I mean, I'm sure we've played before. I've had it happen where you play a shitty team, and you're just like, dude, you just don't get up for the game, and you end up losing.
You get cooked.
So that's what sucks. But back at it next week. That's what I love about football, and I just hope the offense looks better, and then finally got through adversity, and obviously they weren't able to overcome it or anything like that. So we'll see how they bounce back, and they're going to take more time in the red zone, hopefully, because that shit was atrocious.
Yeah, I want to say that Mike McCarthy said that was their that's going to be their main focus this week is red zone preparation, and then I want to say it's like in case those offensive linemen have to start again. Hopefully they don't, like getting them better integrated and better suited to kind of handle some of the stuff that they're going to have to handle throughout the week. So it's
I
all
think
about
we were
taking
all
steps.
Tyron Smith on the sideline. If you saw him, I think that was all of us on our couch on Sunday.
Yeah.
That boy did not take a seat. The big old man just standing up there, just
standing with arms
pissed,
crossed the whole time,
waiting and shit. And I'm like, bro, you guys are some hoes. Made this big man dress out. Like, it's not that easy for him to dress out. It's not that easy. That's a big boy.
Put all those braces on, bro.
I would not want to be Mike McCarthy or the offense coordinator and looking over at him and like he's staring at you like, am I gonna put him in? And you just look at him and you're like, oh fuck. Who's gonna tell him he's not playing today, guys? Who's gonna tell him? Shit, not me.
He's got that neck roll too, bro. He looks
That's what I'm saying. Like, you put all that on, and
no reason.
You knew he wasn't gonna play, so why would you? But again, Prosso O-line didn't do terrible though.
No, I think they're fine. I think we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna, you make a couple different calls, couple better decisions from refs. You'll be okay. They're fine. But you want to write any more about the Cowboys? You want to keep it rolling?
Let's go to other games, man, because Cowboys weren't the worst team this weekend.
No, they weren't. We got two candidates coming up. So who do you think was worse, the Broncos or the Bears? We can start with one of those two.
Well, I don't know. I think the funny thing was that I think since we're in California, so the Cowboys are not like, obviously if you're in Dallas, like you're always going to get the Cowboy game no matter what on your TV, like local channel.
Yeah.
So I think it was going to be the Cowboys Cardinals. And then when I was watching it with my buddy and his dad, he's like, oh, bro, they switched it. Like it's the Chiefs and the Bears. I'm like, oh, that's not any better.
No. Yeah,
and then they
switched
it.
Worse.
They switched it like in the third quarter back to the Cowboys. I'm like, dude, this is not much better. But...
All right, well, let's talk about that game then. That was the first one. I think it was kind of mainly overshadowed by Taylor Swift. I think that was probably the main storyline from that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So, all right. So, backstory: if you're living under a rock and you don't know, Travis Kelce tied in for the Chiefs. Yeah, tied in for the Chiefs is rumored to be dating Taylor Swift. Well, at the game this weekend, Chiefs Bears, Taylor Swift was in the suite with Travis Kelce's whole family. So they're cheering with his mom, saying like, "Let's fucking go!" Whenever Travis scores a touchdown, balls out, like all this stuff, cool. So the after effects of that. Since then, Travis Kelce's gained 300,000 followers on his social media. I want to say his jerseys have seen a 400% increase in sales. And I want to say he was like the most Googled person in the world or something like that at one point.
Had to be.
So, I mean, you get like the Swifties on like social media. Like,
God, I keep seeing all the pictures, bro. It's so funny.
And then I saw today, it was like, it was a video of like the training camp fight that Travis Kelce like got into. Yeah. It is this like Swiftie was like, this is like, in this video you'll see like Travis Kelce like swinging at taking a punch at one of his one of his teammates. Like whenever he gets in an angry situation, he uses his fists. We should be worried about how he's going to use his fists with Taylor whenever they get in an angry situation.
Oh my gosh, yes, it's so funny. I love it. And they were like looking at her like outfit and like I think New Balances like the shoe she was wearing like went up in price too. The red and white ones, and then some jacket she was wearing from like the New Era store, like some regular ass fucking Kansas City like bomber jacket. That like everybody's like, oh my god, look what she's wearing. I want it. I'm like, bruh.
That's a Taylor Swift effect, man. That's crazy. Probably the most famous
woman
legit, in the world
or they're just like, or are they just kind of like just pushing it like just for funs?
I think it's probably legit. I think it's legit for. Are you talking about the relationship?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's probably I don't know. I think it's probably.
I mean, Taylor Swift doesn't need more publicity than she already has. I'd say Travis Kelce. I mean, football is a household name, but everyone else obviously like that don't watch football. But it's just,
I don't know.
Man. I don't know.
I'd be curious to get like somebody else's take that isn't always in the football scenario and see like what they think, right? But I don't know. I would say it's probably a publicity stunt, but like why Travis Kelce? You know, like why would Travis Kelce be a publicity stunt? Like I don't think in the media market his name is like that big to where it's like worth the publicity. Like if anything, it's helping him out, not helping her out.
No, for sure.
So at that point, right? Like it might just be genuine. And so I don't know. It's
Travis Kelce he's a good looking man, bro. I'll give him that. He's a good looking man.
Hey, that's facts.
And he's rocking the stash too.
Hey, come on now.
Yeah. Hey, right? I love that picture of them or the video of them walking away from the locker room or whatever.
It's like so
kind of awkward. Like they're not even like she's not even like grabbing his arm or like they're just walking and then Travis Kelce sees the camera just like Oh, that's
Yeah,
comedy.
and then you seen like the various pictures of like them in that car afterwards, like
Oh,
the
I haven't seen
convertible
the ones
car.
afterwards.
Yes,
No.
bro. They're like driving around, like it's like random people that see him and they're like driving around, and it's like I've seen like memes just like, oh, and this is Taylor. This is what a Walgreens looked like, and like just like as he's like running errands on his way home from the games, like just something
Oh
like that. I
god.
don't know, but yeah, man, it's funny. But uh, kind of circling back to the actual game, Chiefs just absolutely dog walked the Bears. I think it's 41-10 or 41-40,
Hmm.
14 or something like that. So, and then the Bears didn't score any points till the fourth quarter. It was long over by that time. So, I think it's pretty clear that the Bears are pretty much just throwing everything away. Really not looking for it. I mean, they're just that whole organization's a dumpster fire right now, right? Like, I think the end of last week, their defensive coordinator like got his house raided by the FBI. Obviously, like Justin Fields, their quarterback, is like talking all this shit about like coaching and saying like
Throw the
coaching is the
coaching
reason
under the
why he,
bus.
yeah, that like that's why he can't play well. Like, and then he goes out and just drops a stinker. Like, just everything about this game from the Chiefs' point of view is just like it's very very clear. Like they're just a bad organization right now in a bad spot. And it's kind of been cyclical because I think I saw something and it was like I don't remember who the coach was before Matt Nagy, but like it was like they had Jay Cutler and then they hire a new head coach and the new head coach wants a new quarterback and then they draft a new quarterback and that quarterback was Mitchell Trubisky. Then the head coach gets fired and then so now Matt Nagy inherits Mitchell Trubisky. He wants a new quarterback. They draft Justin Fields, then Matt Nagy gets fired, and then Eberflus, the new head coach, gets hired, and then they want a new quarterback, and then just Caleb
It's
Williams,
gonna
and then they're
happen
gonna
again.
fire.
I just
It's
hope
gonna
they
happen again.
don't waste a talent with Caleb Williams, bro.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he just says, "No, I'm not going to the organization." He stays in
That's
college
I
for
think
another
if he
year.
sees it, if it's Chicago or unless some trade happens, he's probably gonna be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a
Why
just
would
play
I?
again.
I mean, he'll make more money in the NCAA than he will in the first season in the NFL anyway. So why would he go?
Yeah, or he can pull
I
like an
mean,
Eli
and then like
Manning or something.
yeah, and then like oh, I mean, he can just hang out in LA instead of going to Chicago, which I mean, I wouldn't want to deal with the
I'd stay
Midwest.
in LA in a heartbeat too.
Not weather. No thanks. I've done it. I don't want any part of it. So yeah, man. That's the Bears. I think the Chiefs look really good. I think they're kind of back. Like I know they obviously lost that first game to the Lions, but and it obviously yeah, and it was the Bears, but still, like I think they're playing really good football. I think Mahomes is doing what he does right. Like
Hmm.
he's balling out. I think Isaiah Pacheco, like the running back, is a good player, and it's hard. Like obviously, you see what the Dolphins do, which that's the next game we're going to talk about. But like, see what they do, and they're like the hot team right now. But like, it is hard to say no to like say that the Chiefs aren't going to repeat again because like what I mean, aside from losing a close game with like limited weapons and against without Travis
Which a
Kelce
playoff
against the Lions.
contender team. Yeah, it's not like it's a
Yeah,
bum team with
exactly,
the Lions.
exactly right. Like, and so it's hard to say like, oh, they're not favorites to win the Super Bowl again. So I don't know what your opinions are on that, but I think that they're still going to be a good team. And obviously, I mean, with Mahomes, you're going to have a chance. So,
Yeah, I think they start like that. I mean, almost every team. I don't know if you saw the quarterback show, but I was watching it a little bit on Netflix, and they talk about like
yeah.
just like getting accustomed to the game, like getting back into flow with things. And people like
Yep.
to like wait till like fourth, fifth week of the NFL, and it's like okay, this is when you can start like judging the team really. And like
Yep.
if I mean we'll mention the Eagles a little bit, but they still look pretty slow to me. They're 3-0,
Yeah.
but they still look pretty damn bad, like slow, but they're still winning games. So imagine if they start clicking, or if they ever do, or if they don't. But I mean, you saw the
Yeah.
Chiefs. It took them a while to start getting there, and like now they're. I mean, Kelsey's back healthy, so it's just showing you how progressively they just start getting better,
Yeah.
and you shouldn't start panicking. I mean, I don't know about
No.
you saw the game yesterday for Bengals. Joe Burrow
Uh-huh.
still looked like shit fighting through
Yeah.
that calf
Fighting through
sprain, but
injury.
you able to see what's his face Jamar
Chase.
Chase. Yeah, get back into things. So man, I don't know how long. I mean, we saw this with the Bengals last year, so we'll see how long it takes them to get back into it. So
yeah, and I
don't want
think
to jump
like
to
right.
conclusions this early in the season.
Yeah, and I think that like with the preseason, like the preseason now is 3 games instead of 4.
And most of them
And
don't
like
play.
a lot of teams are really just holding everybody out. Like look at what the Cowboys did. Like Dak Prescott didn't see the field until week 1 against the Giants. So there's a lot of teams that are just like they're not going to be playing great ball. They're not going to be really clicking. And I'd say you got to get through like a third of the season. So, I mean, 5-6 games. And that's when you kind of know, like, okay, we're a team. We have a squad, or, okay, like, we're going to be, fighting for Caleb Williams. So, anyway, moving on to the next team, which is what I want to kind of see. One of these teams I want to see kind of, can they keep it going, is the Miami Dolphins. 3-0. Dropped a 70 piece on the Denver Broncos.
Man. Yeah, one of the scoregamis of this weekend.
Yeah, so 70-20 over the Broncos. How long can they stay hot? Especially this offense, like it's unbelievable.
That was without Waddle too.
Jeez, I mean, yeah, and like, what is it? 5 touchdowns from your running backs. Tyreek, was he over 200 yards again, or he was up there in 150 yards plus, right? Like,
yeah, I don't think it was 200, but yeah, I was up there.
It's just, I mean, I don't know if Miami's that good of a team, which I think they are, but like, are the Broncos?
I think they just have a really good head coach, man, and that too. Broncos on top of that are terrible. So yeah. I think it's a little bit of both, and you saw all that happen this weekend with them.
Yeah, that's fair.
In that matchup.
So, who do you think is more washed, Sean Payton or Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson?
I'll give it to Russell Wilson, I think.
Yeah, he's kind of fraudulent. Yeah. He's been fraudulent since he moved to Denver.
He got that fat ass contract.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I think Miami literally outgained Denver 2-1. So I mean, what, 720 yards or 360 or so, like, just unbelievable. Like, just video game stats. Like, you expect to be like running up on your like little brother, your cousin, like, I'm gonna drop 70 on him for fun, like, just to make him cry and go home. But like, I don't know if this was a real picture, but like, I think I saw Mike McDaniel like in the stands, like, talking to fans.
Okay, yeah, no, it definitely looks like him, but it's not him.
I was like, okay, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't think it's real, but like, still, I mean, it's just
people are having a blast with that.
It's just like, I'm really curious to see if Miami can actually do it. I don't think that Miami's really played a good team. I think they played a close game against Washington a couple weeks ago, maybe, or they played a close game against somebody.
See. I mean, they got the Bills next weekend.
Yeah,
this upcoming weekend, so that's gonna be a great game to watch.
Yeah, so looking ahead, right? I mean, there's a couple games. There's not really a ton of big, like, exciting games going on. I think you got like Cleveland, Baltimore, which is 2-1 teams. I haven't really heard a lot out of either of those teams this year, but like Miami, Buffalo. I mean, that's two heavyweights, especially in the AFC East divisional game. First of the two that they're going to play against each other. I mean, what do you think there? Do you think has an edge? I know we saw Josh Allen really played a pretty shitty game in the beginning of the season, but obviously Miami's coming in hot. So what are you looking at that, and what are kind of some of the storylines that you see going around?
Yeah, you want to see if the Dolphins are for sure. I think it'll be their first actual test. They'll be playing at Buffalo, and they're going to be underdogs from what I've heard. They're like, I think 2.5 underdogs.
Yeah, I think they're 2.5 point underdogs.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really good game, and like, I think the Bills are starting to get rolling a little bit. I mean, they still haven't played anyone good. They have who did they play this week? I know they had the Raiders last week. And then this week.
Yeah, I don't remember who they played off the top of my head. It wasn't Baltimore, right?
No, because Baltimore lost to the Colts.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But again, you want to see them. I know their running game has been pretty good with is it James Cook?
Yes. They traded for somebody, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it was James Cook. So their running game is pretty established.
They just smoked the Commanders. They just smoked Washington.
Oh, that's what it was. It was a Sam Howell game where he was pretty bad. Okay, there you go.
James Cook. Yeah, James Cook.
Yeah. So they're looking pretty decent now. So like you said, it's not a terrible first week. I mean, obviously, we judged them off of that. That's what happens. Yep. But I think at this point, it's going to be, I think teams are they're getting their offense situated. So yeah. I think Miami, as long as Tua stays healthy, and I think they're going to keep doing it.
I think this is, I'm kind of interested in it in this game specifically because I'm surprised that Vegas isn't overreacting to Miami dropping 70 and having them as like a 3.5 point favorite or something like that. And I'm surprised that Buffalo is still favored in this game because my whole head is like, oh, this is just Miami's there's no way that they come they got to come back down to earth. Like, there's no way they stay that hot.
Yeah.
But
I think they know that Broncos are just fraudulent.
Yeah, and so I think it's gonna be a good game. I'm really curious to see, like you said, can Josh Allen kind of rebound against an actually good team? Can Miami stay hot on offense? And is there any way? I mean, like Trey White, I think is the Bills' corner. Like, can he contain Tyreek in some way? I mean, nobody's really been able to contain Tyreek at all this year. So, yeah, man, I'm curious. And like, obviously, Devon Achane had like 200
you want to see if that still
yards,
keeps
2
going.
tuds,
That
like,
run game between them two.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I think that's got to be the game of the week, 100%.
Yeah, it could also be a weather thing.
Yeah,
so it's a home and away. So in Buffalo, obviously, I mean, I don't know about this time. I don't know if it's cold yet or not.
Nah, it'll still be pretty nice as long as it's not raining.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I don't know if that comes into place too. I mean, obviously, because Miami's in a super hot weather, and you go to whatever they are. But same thing. If it was probably if it's at Miami, it's probably gonna be favorites easily too. So yeah, they for sure see those.
Yeah. And then 2 more games. Baltimore at Cleveland. I know a lot of my friends that are Browns fans. They were all, pretty pumped with the performance that the Browns had this week, and I thought they played pretty well. And Deshaun Watson was massaging his way back into relevancy this week.
Except for that pass he tried to throw back to his running back.
So it looks like the Browns, I mean, post Nick Chubb, and are kind of starting to kind of get back into a flow of things, and I thought they look pretty good this week. So obviously Ravens lost the game this week to another 2-1 Colts team that have looked pretty decent, right, with Gardner Minshew. So I think that's going to be a pretty tough, hard-nosed, little AFC North showdown. I don't know how versed you are in watching a lot of those games, but going to school in Cleveland, I saw a bunch of them, and it's pretty dirty football, but it's a good time. It's a little gritty if you want a little grit in your
That's weekend. What they do, yeah.
Yeah, so
I think a divisional game is always good to watch.
Yeah, right. So I'm curious to see if that post Nick Chubb Browns kind of keep it going. I know Lamar had a pretty big game this weekend and a loss, so can he kind of ball out and kind of keep his momentum going? So I'm curious to see that. And then obviously the game that you and I are kind of most looking forward to is this Patriots Cowboys game. I think we're 7-point favorites, if I'm correct. I think that I don't know. In my head, this is as much of a get back on track game as you can have. There's the whole you get scrutinized nationally. You obviously, right, America's game of the week is gonna be America's game of the week this year, or this week. You lose a game that you absolutely should not have lost to the Cardinals. I mean, just really bad refs, 13 penalties, 1 for 5 in the red zone. I think this is as much of a get back on track game as you can have for the Cowboys. I don't think the Patriots are that good. Mac Jones is really not the answer. That's my personal opinion. I don't know how confident you're feeling, but I think I'd feel pretty confident saying Cowboys are going to win. And I would probably say confident they're going to cover the spread too.
Oh wow, okay. Only as confident as you, obviously.
Yeah.
But obviously they signed Will Grier to their team.
Yep.
And Zeke too. So they're talking about. Yeah, we're aware of that, so we're gonna try to switch up some stuff because I know they know. I mean, they know everything, or most of our stuff. I just hope they don't try too hard to make anything different because I mean they're scouts, right? They kind of already know what you got going on, but it's just how you execute it and how you're able to still make them think that there's a possibility of something else happening. So I just hope they don't get too cute with it or try to switch so much stuff up where they're oh, we got to make sure that Will Grier or Zeke doesn't blah 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 blah. So I hope they just don't think too much about it.
I think that's fair, but I think that a lot of that is kind of just played up for the media, and I think that it's really not going to be that big of a deal. I think that they may change some hand signs and stuff like that, but I don't think they're going to go and change their entire game plan because right at the end of the day, Will Grier isn't going to be sitting there telling Bill Belichick, or I think Bill Belichick's son, who's the faux defensive coordinator. I don't think that they're going to say oh, they're lining up in this formation, they're going to run this play. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of it's just kind of overblown. And obviously, right, I know that there was I think it was week 2 where Baker Mayfield in their game, like he had the signals of the defense, and like they could tell like what they were gonna run through just like knowing their calls and stuff like that. So I think that if your defense is smart enough to kind of do that anyway, like they're gonna figure it out in the basis of a game. So I like I said, I think a lot of it's kind of overblown, and I think you're right. I do agree with you with the fact that I don't want them to change too much because they're like trying to be like, oh my gosh, like I'm thinking like it's Bill Belichick, like all this stuff. Like, no, I think I think they're gonna be okay. So, but with that, man, do you got anything else on the NFL before we kind of move and get the gloves, get on the diamond?
Yeah, I put Zeke down for anytime touchdown.
I like that.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
I like that. I
haven't scored all season, but it'll be this week. I promise you.
It'll be this week. Yeah. Too bad the kettles are out and let him jump into the kettle.
Oh, dude, I hope they get that. They get rid of that because he's gonna be eager to be in the end zone now.
Yeah, but all right, man. Well, let's get to the outfield. How break it down for me? What are we looking at?
Let's do it, man. Rangers are back. How many times have we said that in the past couple weeks?
Losing count.
Rangers go on a win streak. They still haven't lost. They get on top of the division. At one point, I said that I didn't think they were going to make playoffs. And, I mean, I just think no one wants to win this division, clearly. Mariners are bad again. Astros they got swept by the Royals. And the past week, they lost a series to the Royals, Oakland, two worst teams, and they get swept at home. Was it at home or was it at Kansas? No, it was at home. Yeah, it was at home.
It was,
yeah. And it just shows how, I mean, I've said it again, they're just so bad at home, but they're so damn good on the road, which is obviously scary. I mean, we've seen the Astros at the Rangers absolutely demolish us in a series, the last series.
In person.
So, yeah. So it's tough, man. It's, as of right now, Rangers would begin the number 2 seed. They'll get the bye, and they'll probably end up playing against either Minnesota or most likely Astros, unless they just absolutely fuck it from here. Which are playing the Mariners right now, so pretty damn good baseball at the end of the week. But next podcast, we're going to see how everything's played out for playoffs.
Yeah, I would like the record to show that 2 weeks ago I said that the Rangers were going to win the division. Just want that to be known. I did say whenever we first started saying, like, hey, like, hot take of the week, if we get something wrong, like, we're going to admit it. We're going to be our own worst critics. We're going to say that we don't know ball. But I did say that, and I know it's so early. A lot could go wrong.
Yeah,
and I
chill
really
out.
could be shooting myself in the foot here.
Left.
But I'm just saying, next week I might be taking a victory lap. That's all I'm saying.
I'll take it with you. I'll run it with you. I'll run an extra one. I'll run an extra one if we win the division, because that would be massive. Because I held off on buying playoff tickets because I'm like, we might not even make it to the divisional series.
Might not make it to the division.
Yeah, so I mean, we're up 2.5 games right now. I mean, currently we're losing to the Angels 4-1.
Yeah, we're still losing, right?
So I mean, it's gonna be tough. So obviously, Astros and Mariners, that's this weekend. Astros will be playing at Diamondbacks this weekend, so that's gonna be a good series because the Diamondbacks are still trying to fight their way in to the playoffs. They're currently in the playoff spot right now. Stay on the Rangers, then we'll talk about the playoff picture for the rest of the teams. Gray was able to pitch yesterday. Finally got a first win since August 11th, over a month.
I didn't realize that.
He was playing some bad ball. I mean, this is the most that he's pitched. He's been pitching a lot. He's usually an injury-prone player. This is the most he's pitched, and he hasn't been looking good. I think he went like 5 or 4 starts in a row where he just couldn't get past the 4th inning. So I mean, he looked good yesterday. Gave up a solo bomb, but then was looking good, but then came out. Something with his wrist, but I think he's gonna be okay. I hope he just starts heating up now for the playoff series because he's probably gonna be your third guy. You're gonna go Montgomery as your ace.
That's crazy. Scherzer.
That's what I wrote that down. I want to talk about Scherzer. They asked Bochy about it today. He said that they asked Bochy because they're like, I mean, it's like you gotta think that he's out of the picture. I think it's at like 8 weeks. Right now, I think you're heading into the 3rd week. 8th week would be like the 1st week of the World Series if we make it to the World Series.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that blows.
So, but Bochy said like, hey, I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, he really wants to get back out there. He's progressing pretty well, and like Max, he's a
competitor.
Specimen.
He's gonna be out there.
Exactly, but you also want to be safe if you're the Rangers because you have him for one more year, and you don't want him not to pitch for you next year because it's definitely gonna be part of your rotation. So we
That's
got that. Might have that postseason return for him. And Bochy, we trust. When do we not trust him?
Yeah,
Bullpen
absolutely.
does pretty well over this week. We got to see Hernandez, even though he's shown a glimpse of, he's got some really good stuff. His just command's really bad, but he was able to get out of a bases loaded jam yesterday, which is massive. I was shitting my pants watching that. And you see Heaney come out and pitch you like 1/3, like the eighth and the ninth, so he closes it out for you. I don't know if you see him in a closing role, but I mean, I think he's just throwing. He's like, I'm gonna throw my best guy out there right now. What that I can do?
Yeah,
You keep Heaney and Martin in the
and I think
bullpen.
that's what you got to do. I think like you're getting to the point where we're pretty much in like I think now like you might as well just consider right now the playoffs because like, you kind of know like a lot of these games are must win, right? So it's you got to kind of do the best that you can and get the best guy, your best guys out there no matter what.
And that's what they're doing. So you got Cody Bradford making the start tonight. Probably on a short leash because he was pitching out the pen. So we'll probably see some Martin probably see Martin today. I think he'll probably pitch 3 or 4
I would
innings.
figure he probably it's going in the top of the fifth now. I would assume that somebody else is pitching this in the bottom of the fifth inning. I would figure you think at least.
We'll see how that goes. And pitching was looking good. Chapman was able to get out some stuff. Obviously, he's really good when he's on lots of days of rest and not back to back.
Yeah.
And look, Lurk has looked really good the past few weeks. I mean, it's in the whole season.
I think it was like this past weekend was the first time that Chapman and the Clerk like had pitched like I think it was back-to-back days with no rest, and they like I think previously they both have been pretty dog shit at it, but like they both like just whatever it was like just decided like hey like we're gonna go crazy today.
I mean, Jose originally came in the season as your closer.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of optimism. Obviously, right? Like we've been here before. But I think that that like they're giving us reason to be optimistic.
Yeah,
and it's been a while since we've seen them close out like a one-run game like they did.
Yeah,
against a good opponent, like a good divisional opponent. So like that's something that those ball games, those close like 1-2 run ball games where you're getting
just means so much more.
Yeah, and you just especially in a playoff situation, like you just have to close it out, and the pitching is doing it. So it's really really optimistic time. So hopefully kind of stays that way and can allow us to keep having some fun and have a little bit of nice playoff baseball, you know what I mean?
I just want playoff baseball so bad, bro. Last time was 2016, I believe. 2017, and that was Toronto.
Yeah, I remember Toronto.
Fucking Batista.
Like Jose Batista just absolutely
that piece of shit.
So, obliterating our franchise.
I'm eager to watch it. Obviously, I mean, I went into the season thinking that maybe we could fight for something, and then now you're just at the point. I think if you don't win the division, I think it's still a disappointment. You don't want to go in the wild card.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's still playoffs, but you just don't want it. I think as of right now, you're able to gain that back 2.5 games, and if you're just not able to capitalize on that, then be disappointed.
Yeah, I think especially right now, right? Like, I mean, last week we would have assumed that like, oh, if we even make the playoffs, it's a miracle. And then 2 weeks before that, like, oh, if we're not winning the division by 7 games, like it's a collapse. So I think right now we're in a good spot. Let's hope that the boys keep it that way, and they might be the streakiest team in baseball.
Yeah, so, I mean, you've had the longest active win streak, and then you've also had the longest losing streak in the span of a month. Season. And look where you're at right now.
I mean, basically back to back. So, yeah, man.
That's baseball for you.
Unbelievable. That's baseball, baby. That's baseball.
That's baseball. And also, just a little quick side note. I remember when no one wanted to trade Zeke or Duran. Remember, look, where's he at right now? Where's the last time you saw him play?
I couldn't tell you.
I was on the trade train, bro. I was like, get your good starting pitcher, a good bullpen arm. Like, he's not going to be this hot for that long.
Yeah, at this
everyone
point,
said, no, why would you trade a utility guy like this? Gave you like 4 fucking errors in third base while Josh Young was out. We have to watch Josh Smith play. Because he was so much better defensively.
Yeah, don't get me started on that bozo.
Yeah, I just want to throw that out there that I was on the trade Zeke train, and you probably forgot about him. It's been, I don't know, like maybe 3 weeks, two and a
It's
half
been a
weeks. You
minute
haven't
since
seen him
I've
play.
seen him.
Not
Yeah, it's
even
been a
pinch
minute
hit or
since we've
anything.
seen him.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Just want to throw that out there. You could have got you another bullpen arm, but no.
Yeah,
You guys wanted
that's
him.
fair. That's fair.
All right, so let's go to the playoff picture. Unless you got something else you want to say about the Rangers.
Yeah, just Rangers really quick. I want to talk about the Round Rock Express, the AAA team. Just really briefly. So they ended up winning their, like, I guess the second half league. I don't know if how minors work, but they're in like their AAA like championship game. But really, I was wanted to talk about it because obviously, right, like Wyatt Langford and Jack Leiter both got called up. And right now I looked it up. In the first game of the championship, Wyatt Langford is currently he has 1 at bat, but he has 3 walks. So still, yeah. So I think he has 1 at bat, like a strikeout and 3 walks. So just
wow,
the man is just I think he has like 1100 OPS at AAA. So
he's disciplined, bro. That's what I love.
He's crazy, and he's just been absolutely balling. Jack Leiter made his first start a couple days ago. I think he only go like 3 innings, 4 innings maybe. He gave up like 8 hits. So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, he might get a little start here in this championship deal if he can go to if they can go to 3 games, but I kind of doubt it. So it's good for him to get some run at like a different level and kind of get a little bit of different exposure. So really just prospect watch for the top 2 prospects that the Rangers 2 of the top 2 prospects that the Rangers have right now. So definitely interesting. And I mean, it's hard not to. I would imagine it's got to be hard to keep Langford off the 40 man, and hard to keep him.
Yeah, he's knocking on your door,
in
Bochy.
Arlington. Yeah, I mean, obviously right. You're saying Duran like can't do a job, like giving us even as a pinch hitter, like okay, like you can't do a job. Like what about Langford? I mean, Langford, dude is fucking raking. So,
dude,
it's early. It's early. I mean, he's had. I'm
excited.
I'm
so excited.
Yeah.
Our outfield's gonna be set for a long time.
Yeah, and I think he's had 44 games in the minors between rookie ball, high A, double A, triple A, and like 200 plate appearances. So like obviously, right, still super young into his professional career, but
yeah,
it's hard not to be excited about him. And
I
guarantee, like if he's not in the big, I mean, he's not going to be in the bigs, and he'll still be considered a prospect going into next season. But like if he's not in the top 5 prospects in baseball next year, like something's wrong because I don't understand it. So
yeah, at least top 10, I think. But yeah, top 5. I think what he's showing right now, I don't see why not.
Yep. But yeah, man, that was all I had for the Rangers. So I know we got a little bit of
thanks for the
playoff picture talk.
The AAA update. Love it.
Yeah, down on the farm, baby. Down on the farm.
Down on the farm. We got a good farm, so we got to be proud of it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll start with the playoff picture for the National League. So obviously, Braves, Dodgers got their byes. They clinched. Braves are just a fucking powerhouse. Unless they get cold at the wrong time, that would just suck. Brewers are soon to be clinching. I think their magic number is 1, so they got to win 1 game and they can clinch that division. They'll be the 3rd seed, and they'll be in the wild card. Right now, number 4 is Philly. They're up ahead by 5 games on Arizona and the Cubs. So they got. I think Philly's almost close to that playoff bound.
Yeah, they're pretty locked.
Yeah, Arizona and Cubs they're tied. I'm sure Arizona has a tiebreaker on them, so it's Arizona 5, Cubs 6.
Okay.
No games in between them. Miami's right there with 1 game behind them out of the playoff race. And then I put Cincy in there. They're 2.5 games. Something could happen. I want to say they lost today, so they probably dropped down to 3.5. So that's them. And I mean, there are going to be some key series for them. So Cubs and Braves are currently playing right now. That's their series. Diamondbacks and Astros is going to be on the weekend. So, I mean, the Diamondbacks are still trying to play playoff baseball, and so are the Astros. So that's going to be a really good baseball series to watch. I mean, I think everything's going to be must watch. If you haven't watched regular season all season and you tuned in right now,
to get into it.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
You got the Rays and Blue Jays. Rays are still trying to fight for the number 1 seed. Yeah, number 1 seed. They're 2.5 games behind, I believe. And then Cubs and Brewers is one that I'm really looking at too. Brewers are probably gonna be clinched, so I don't know. I'm not saying they'll give games to the Cubs, but I mean, if the Brewers haven't clinched yet, then they're gonna want to win games.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
For the National League. In the American League, as of now, the Blue Jays are the 5th seed. They're kind of locked in the 5th seed. They're up by 1.5 games. Astros are 6. Mariners are 7. They're 1.5 games behind. They're currently playing right now, so that's another good series, obviously. And then you got Orioles and Tampa. Tampa's behind 2.5. But Tampa's most likely going to stay at the 4 seed. So it'll be Minnesota versus Astros or Mariners. And then winner of that will play the Rangers, hopefully.
Probably us, yeah. Probably the Rangers.
Mm-hmm. So a lot still going on this last week of baseball. I love it. This is what you lived for. The last day.
Yeah. October, baby. October baseball.
162. It's getting here.
Getting close. It's been a long season. I'm glad to get back into this little playoff hunt. I think it's going to be fun and excited, man. Excited for a little bit of playoff baseball, hopefully, in Arlington.
Yeah, so hopefully next All in the Outfield, we're going to be talking about the next matchup, the first game in Arlington, Globe Life Field, and the ALDS, and not the wild card.
Be sick, bro. Would be sick.
Yes, it would be.
Long time coming.
Yeah. So I'm going to hit the showers, get my shit ready, run my ass to AU. Yeah.
Get the notebooks. Yeah, we'll keep it quick again. Kind of. I feel like we always have a tendency of running long nowadays, so I try to keep it short.
Football, baseball, everything, man.
Yeah, bro, it's a lot of stuff going on, man. So, starting with TCU as I have to. Big win over SMU, battle for the Iron Skillet, 34-17, which I don't really think it was that close, truthfully. Anyway, I think TCU's defense is like really rounding out to being a good defense that is making plays. And there was obviously, right, the Colorado game, giving up 45 points to a team, like, it's brutal to do that. And I think it was like 3 games in a row at that point that you'd given up more than 40 something. So yeah, they're starting to kind of to round out in the form and kind of like we had said in the NFL, right? Like you need to get through like a 30-year season to kind of figure out like if you got a squad or not. Well, like TCU's finally getting to that point where they're 4 games in, sitting at 3-1 out of their 12-game regular season. And I think if they kind of keep it up, right? Like I think that they got a shot to go on a run here. And assuming that, some things kind of fall their way, I think there's a legitimate shot that they're playing in the Big 12 title game against Texas in December. I think, I could also see them going, 9-3 or 10-2 and losing. I think if they go 10-2, they're still going to, and that one more loss is to Texas, they're for sure probably going to be playing in the Big 12 title game. But if they are 9-3, and then I would assume one of those losses comes to like OU or Kansas State or something like that, like it kind of sees how the rest of the stuff kind of crumbles. But I think either way, Texas is kind of the clear favorite in the Big 12 until proven otherwise. And why not TCU? I know they had a good season last year, but I think there's a lot of good talent still. Chandler Morris, the quarterback, is kind of been really balling out, which is nice to see. And it's his first year as a starter, so kind of see how that rolls. And then Amani Bailey, TCU's running back, in my opinion, has definitely cemented himself as the best running back in the Big 12. I think he had 125 yards this game. 3 of his 4 games, he's had over 110 or 120 yards. Obviously, the Colorado game in prime time, he had 160-something yards. So really just a baller. TCU has a lot of ballers everywhere. Their receivers, it's kind of interesting that they just spread the ball out. Spread the ball a ton. I think they had over 10 receivers pretty much in every game catching a pass. Which is something that you don't really see very often. And then TCU's offense is just like super, super fast paced, and they kind of wear defenses down. You've seen that in the last 2 games. Pretty much starting in the third quarter, like TCU dominates, and that's because you get out and like TCU's running pretty much 3 plays a minute. So you do that in 105-degree weather like it was on Saturday. Like it's just you're gonna wear teams out, and you're gonna kind of really kind of enforce your will throughout the game and kind of kill some teams. So super, super good performance. Looking forward to West Virginia night game this week, blackout, which will be pretty sweet. So if you're at the game, come drop me a message. We'll try to link up or something like that. The tens of followers that we have, so it'll be pretty sweet. And then some other games. Ohio State Notre Dame was kind of the big marquee matchup of the weekend. Ohio State ends up winning 17-14. And I don't know if you saw this, but Ohio State won on a last-second touchdown thanks to Notre Dame having 10 guys on the field before a timeout and then also coming out of the timeout to lose the game. So, yeah, man, pretty embarrassing for Notre Dame to lose the game that
They
way.
ran 10 people out there after the timeout.
Yeah, so they had 10 people out there, called a timeout to try and get it situated, and then also ran 10 people out there again. So 2 plays in a row. And yeah, man, it was, to be a Notre Dame fan, I mean, it was pretty much like nuts on the line, right? Like you're on the 1 yard line with a second to go. Like you gotta, you just run the ball and you gotta get it. And they pretty much ran to the side that Notre Dame was missing a defensive end too. So if Notre Dame has that guy there, they might stop him. Notre Dame might win the ball game, and it's a whole different story. But Ohio State wins. I have some friends that are Ohio State fans, and they were kind of freaking out the whole game. Calling for Ryan Day's head, which is the Ohio State head coach, saying just making stupid decisions and just calling shitty plays. So yeah, I think Ohio State's a really good team. I think they're a top 10 team in the nation, but I don't think that they're personally. I don't think that they're gonna win the Big Ten. I mean, obviously, right? It's until proven otherwise, but I think that their quarterback plays kind of be what kind of holds them back. Kyle McCord is a first year starter, so you go right. Like Ohio State has a history of having. They had what, like JT Brissett. They had Cordell. They had like Justin Fields. They had CJ Stroud. Like just like high draft pick quarterbacks. Yeah, just in a row. And then you have a guy like really hasn't played much. So he's trying to figure out his way in the offense, trying to get there. And so I think this has kind of been the most vulnerable that Ohio State has looked in the past couple of years. And it's kind of also corresponding with Michigan looking like really good and Penn State probably being the favorite right now to win. I mean, a lot of people's favorite to win the Big Ten. So it's going to be a pretty interesting race at the top of the Big Ten to see who wins. And, I think Ohio State's probably that third team in that pack of three, which sucks for Ohio State fans to hear. But I think that's the reality of it. That's my personal opinion. So 2 more games to talk about really quick from last week was the first one was Ole Miss, Alabama. Ole Miss ends up, in my opinion, I was kind of surprised Ole Miss ended up losing. Alabama won 24-10. I think it was a lot of like bad offense from Ole Miss, which could be attributed to really good defense from Alabama. It just kind of depends on how you look at it. Ole Miss was 3 of 14 on third downs. That's just not a recipe for success, right? I think that their quarterback play for Alabama was pretty efficient, but I think still like looking at their schedule, they play A&M in College Station. They play LSU. They have another tough game against Auburn on the road too. So right, like I think they've already lost the game. They're sitting at 3-1. There's a pretty real scenario that they go 8-4. There's a real scenario that they go 9-3 with losses to LSU Auburn or losses to LSU A&M. So I think it's still going to be a down year for Alabama. I think that they're still a good team, probably for sure top 12 team in the nation, which is fine, like right. But I don't think it's that same pedigree that you see from Alabama every year. But kind of a story to watch and just kind of see like are they going to rebound next year and stuff like that. And then kind of another one of those like really, really good games over on the West Coast that is, in my opinion, like one of the games of the season, or at least one of the performances, for sure one of the performances of the season was Washington State beating Oregon State 38-35. Cam Ward is the quarterback for Washington State, and I kind of mentioned him last week. He had going into last season, he transferred from Incarnate Word to Washington State. And this dude is a certified baller. He's a freak. This week he went 28-34 with 404 yards and 4 tuds against a really, really good Oregon State team. Washington State had 2 receivers over 150 yards. And Oregon State's they have DJ Uiagalelei, which was the starting quarterback at Clemson for the last couple of years, and then transferred into Oregon State. But like, still like Oregon State's rushing attack is kind of their like bread and butter, right? But when Washington State has them on the ropes, I think they were up 35-14 with like 5 minutes left in the third quarter. It's going to be really, really hard to kind of claw back from that. So I'm really interested to see. I mean, I think the Pac-12 is probably the deepest conference in the NCAA this year. They have really good teams in Washington State, Oregon State. They have Washington, who's a top 10 team. They have USC, who's a top 3 team. They have UCLA, who's ranked pretty high. Utah is a top 10 team. Like, they're really, really deep in the Pac-12. And, I'm kind of rooting for Washington State to kind of make some noise. I like Cam Ward. I think he was a stud coming out of Incarnate Word, and he went to a pretty small high school in Texas too, and ran like triple option or something like that. So to kind of see him balling out is something that's really exciting. So that's kind of the week in review, I would say. And I know last week I kind of mentioned that I was going to do like, kind of weekly predictions aside from like, right, what we kind of put on Instagram and stuff like that of like spreads and stuff like that, just kind of seeing, picking games, kind of seeing what I can get right. So last week I ended up going 5-4, lost a couple like close ones with like Oregon State, lost a stupid one. I don't know what I was thinking picking UTSA over Tennessee. That was pretty stupid.
What was the final score for that game?
It was like 45-10 or something like that, dude. It was. I bought in the hype that I had no business buying into. So that was stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so got 6 games on the docket this week. I got Kentucky, Florida, UT, Kansas, LSU, Ole Miss, Notre Dame, Duke, Louisville, and NC State, and then Louisiana, Lafayette, Minnesota as like a little wild card game. So starting off, Kentucky, Florida. I have Kentucky actually beating Florida. I think the game is in Kentucky, if I'm correct. I think Kentucky is like 2.5 point favorite, so it's not like a super big game. But I think Kentucky kind of pulls away. I still don't think Florida's that good of a team. Graham Mertz is Florida's quarterback, and I watched him in that Utah game, and he looked pretty pedestrian. He looked like one of us out there throwing the ball in a D1 football game. So. I got Kentucky winning that game. Kansas UT. I think that UT is going to win this game, but I had this on here because I think that Kansas easily covers 16.5. So we'll kind of see how that shakes out. I think Jalen Daniels, Kansas' quarterback, is probably up there with Chandler Morris and Quinn Ewers as top 3 quarterbacks in the Big 12. And Kansas is a good team. I'm like personally, I'm glad that TCU's not playing them. They have a really good coach in Lance Leipold, and so they're making some plays, man. They're making plays, and I'm excited. I hope they're all healthy because I think that's going to be a really good team and a really good game. And if we come back next week and Kansas upsets UT, I really wouldn't be surprised. Another ranked matchup of SEC teams, LSU, Ole Miss. I think LSU handles business there. I will say I'm kind of concerned, 1, because it's at Ole Miss, and then 2, LSU is pretty notoriously bad at 11 a.m. games. And this game is an 11 a.m. game. So kind of just one of those weird things that, they're typically a better team going in at night for whatever reason. So that's one of them. Notre Dame, Duke. I think that Duke upsets Notre Dame here. I want to say Duke is 5.5 point underdogs. But Mike Elko's the head coach for Duke, was the defensive coordinator at Texas A&M last year, and he's running a really, really good program at Duke right now. I want to say they're 4-0, making a little bit of noise. They got a good win over who did they got a win over? I don't remember who they've played, but they got one pretty nice win. So I think that if they can kind of handle business against Notre Dame, they deserve to be up in the top 10, top 7, 8 teams in the nation, and I think that's kind of where they settle. And then last 2 games, Louisville, NC State, another ACC matchup. I think Louisville handles business there. I think Louisville is 4-0 right now. I want to say they're 2.5 point favorites, 3 point favorites, something like that. And then for just kind of like same with what I did for UTSA, kind of a bigger like sleeper upset pick, I have Louisiana Lafayette going to Minnesota, beating Minnesota. I want to say it's an 11-point spread right now. I think that Louisiana is a really good team. The Sun Belt Conference has some pretty impressive teams. They play a lot of like SEC schools and tune-ups, and they beat somebody that was in a Power 5 conference this year. I don't remember who it is off the top of my head. I looked it up earlier. And I think Minnesota started off really hot with a win against Nebraska and all this stuff, and they have a really good like true freshman running back. But I think that I wouldn't be surprised if Louisiana kind of handles business and was able to go up there and kind of shock a big Power 5 school in Minnesota. But with that, man, that's the end of class. That's what I got for a little bit of college football, a little bit of AU. So I'll have some more, Saturday spreads that we can, post and kind of have on the graphic if you want to tail at your own risk. Probably not, because I'm pretty cold right now. So, but yeah, man, that's what I got for AU. You got anything else? Anything for the end of the episode?
Not from there, man. But I know we got some YDKB, right?
Yeah, IDKB. I don't know, Paul. I'm pretty ice cold.
I could have told you that, man. Cold.
Yeah. This past weekend went 5-9, which isn't great. 3-6 in NCAA, 2-3 in the NFL, and that doesn't include. I don't even think that includes Thursday, which I think Thursday I went 1-2. So let's put that at 3-5 for NFL. So 6-11. So yeah, super hot. So yeah, man.
Yeah. Clearly, if you want to tell me, I cleaned the house on Thursday, swept.
Yep.
And I went. Did I have 5 or did I go 4? I went 4-1 on my NFL picks. All the spreads hit, and the over/under for the Charger game missed by 2 points.
That's tough. That's brutal. Could have gone 9.
Yeah, nice. I was right on it, man.
That's crazy impressive. That's impressive.
I had Houston plus 8.5, and they won upright.
Yeah, run out right. So yeah, man, that's impressive. Mm-hmm. Just got to bounce back this week. Got to get back in the classroom. Yeah. Got to get back on notes. Yeah. Maybe go to a little study hall or something like that. Figure something out. We'll have some picks this week. I'm already cooking some stuff up. So we'll see. You want to see our picks this week? Follow Instagram, stuff like that. We got everything on there. So we'll have. I guess this will come out on Thursday, right? So Thursday after you're listening to this, check the Instagram. Thursday afternoon or so, we'll post Thursday night football picks. We'll have probably Friday we'll post college football, and then probably Saturday or something like that we'll post NFL stuff. So yeah, man. You got anything else for the podcast for the week?
No, my last YDKB is going to be the Cowboys rush defense.
Yeah, they don't know.
They don't know ball. They got us. They thought we could believe that they did know ball and know the rush defense, but clearly not. Back to the good old ways and pre-snap penalties. So
let me add the refs for that game too. They don't know ball. They don't know how to call.
You're really against these guys, man. I think with or without the refs, we probably lose.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I'm not gonna say that.
Blame it on the refs. I'm okay with that.
I'm gonna blame it on somebody.
Yeah,
blame it on somebody. The best thing to do is not take blame. So that's I'll pass it.
Very true.
I'll keep passing it.
It's always the refs.
Always the refs. But with that, this episode is coming to a close. You got any final thoughts for the people?
Rangers, hopefully will be on top of the division, and the Cowboys will be 3-1 next podcast.
I like that. Well, yeah, as he says that, we're currently losing 6-1, so we're already jinxing it. We were jinxing this. We were jinxing the Rangers before the podcast even started.
It's a bullpen day. It's a bullpen day. It's okay. Can't win all of them.
That's fair.
I hope the Mariners are winning.
I don't know. Yeah, we can find. I guess that game just started too. So, but anyway, yeah, man, that's the podcast coming to a close. Check us out on TikTok. Check us out on Instagram. At Austin_and_Ollie on Instagram, and then at Austin Ollie on TikTok. All that stuff will be in the show description. We're trying to get everything going and trying to get all that stuff, trying to get it blown up. So go check us out on YouTube too. We have a YouTube, so we post the video version of the podcast out there. But if you guys are all, if you don't have anything else, man, let's wrap it up.
That's all I got.
That's it. Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. That was another episode of Austin and Ollie. We will see you guys back for a 10th episode in a row next week.
Yup.
So we'll talk to you guys once the Rangers, clinch the division. Cowboys win. TCU has another win. Ollie and I go undefeated in our picks this week. That's, we're just going to speak it all into existence because I manifest it.
Yeah, everything's going to go perfect.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing can go wrong, right? But yeah, with that, guys, thank you so much for listening. That's another week, another episode. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.